All right, let's do our correlation and regression lab. So what I like to do is have the instructions on part of the screen and then the Excel on the other page so I can follow along. So you're going to start by entering the data that you see here and for attendance percent and course grade percent. And I put in some extra numbers here, but these are not the ones that you're going to be using. I just want to use these for demonstration. So what we're going to do is correlate these two columns of data, the attendance being our X column and the grades being our Y column. So sometimes this is called the independent variable X and the dependent variable Y, or the predictor variable X and the criterion variable Y when we use regression. All right, so what we're going to do then is we're going to take this data right here. I'm going to click on this and drag. There's all our data. And then I'm going to click on the Data tab here and go to Data Analysis. Now, if you don't have Data Analysis there, please go back and watch the little tutorial on how to enable the Data Analysis tool pack. But we've got it. So let's go to Correlation, and there it is. And then OK. Now, it's asking where is our data. We don't want it to leave those last two things off. So let's click and drag here. There we go. Now we need to tell it that we've covered up labels. So we click this box so that it knows attendance and grades are not data, because that'll mess everything up. It is in columns. And then rather than use the default of a new worksheet that would show up way down here, I like to put the results somewhere nearby, so I've picked D2 here. You can either click here and type D2, or you can click in D2, but make sure you're here when you click and not still up here, because that'll mess things up. All right, so now we're set, and we click OK. And there we go. We've got our results here. So we can see that, and if you have to, if you can't read the whole words, then you just double click between the two columns and it'll make it exactly the right length so you can see everything that's in there. Now you can see attendance is perfectly correlated with itself. That's logical and unnecessary to tell us. And the same with grades, but the correlation of attendance and grades is 0.7576, so about 0.76. So we've got that part set. Now the next part, when you look at your instructions here, you can see a little more detail there. We've used Excel, and we're going to include our data and the results from our software when we put it on our one page. Now we need to create a scatter plot. Okay, so now to include our scatter plot, we're going to go ahead and cover up our data here. There we go. And we can go to Insert. And we know we're going to want a scatter plot. We can go to Recommended Charts and see if we can find one there. Oh, there's one pretty good. So we can pick that one. Okay. There it is. Now we're going to slide this down a little and get it out of the way, because we've got other stuff to put there. But remember, you're going to go ahead and you're going to do the chart titles over here. You're going to click on this, put your axis titles in there. Now notice that these two 100s here, that must mean that this is the grades column, and that is our Y variable, right? So you're going to add axis titles in. There you go. And then watch this, how easy this is, so we don't have to do the formulas for lines. We just touch trend line, and there it is, done for us. So go ahead and fill that in and you'll be set. And then now the last thing we need to do is I'll go ahead and keep that trend line in there. And then the last thing we need to do is answer the 5 questions worth 2 points each. So for the first question, it says, what is the value of Pearson R to 2 decimals? So what we're going to do is say R space equals space, and then this would be about 0.76 then when we round up. Now you're going to get different numbers, right? So you're going to put in what your R value is. And then it says, is this strong, moderate, or weak? And remember, the closer it is to the absolute value of 1, the stronger it is. So that's a pretty strong correlation. You might say moderate to strong. So you can just decide what you want to do there. And then for number 3, it says, is this a direct or inverse correlation? Now, since it's a positive number, we know that it is direct. The two variables are moving in the same direction. But if you get a negative number, that's going to be inverse. All right? And then we're going to go down here and do our 4th one. And that says, what is your best prediction of a grade for someone who has an attendance rate of 60? And that's where we use our trend line here. So we're going to go down just a little bit so we can see that trend line. And we're going to go to, this is going to be your attendance, your X variable. And so we're going to find the 60 and go to right where it touches the line and then straight across and estimate what that value is. You can use a ruler if you need to, or some other straight edge. And so for this, I would say that's going to be about 70. All right. Now then the last thing is question 5. Now this one I'm going to be watching very closely because it says, can we conclude that better attendance will raise your grade? Now that's asking, is this causal? And you know what about correlation is not proof of cause. It could be, but correlation is not enough for us to make that conclusion. So remember, we have to use words if it's a good correlation of is related or is linked to, but not words like causes. So I'm watching how you do number 5 because that's going to be really important. All right, and then submit that in the Dropbox, and I will see you soon. Bye.